Hello once again, grain traders. I'm meteorologist Sean Sublett for CropProphet, and it's time for the forecast of the forecast discussion for this Friday, July 18th, 2025, getting you ready for the weekend and prepared for Monday next week with the holy grail of grain commodities weather forecasting. Remember, this is the forecast of the forecast, or the probability that the ECMWF ensemble mean will be warmer or cooler than normal when you come in on Monday morning. So the reds and oranges showing a higher probability that the model will come in warmer than normal on Monday, and the blues, other side of the coin, where it might be cooler than normal, at least in probability forecasting for the ECMWF ensemble mean on Monday morning. Of course, the market's very concerned about a building heat wave across the Corn Belt, some places the western Corn Belt, but we also see a much higher probability of the model coming in hotter than normal, 80 to 90% so for the eastern Corn Belt through a good part of Iowa and Illinois and Indiana. And then, interestingly enough, we see this cooler than normal probability farther northward toward the wheat belt in particular. One of the reasons we think that might be happening, we'll touch on in the precipitation in just a moment. But the other concern for the markets as we get into week 2, days 8 to 14, is the warmer nights at this very critical pollination time for corn. And we see 40, 50, 60% probability that the model is going to come in warmer than normal in week 2, days 8 to 14 for Iowa, most of Illinois and southern Indiana. Closer to normal across the Dakotas, but a very strong signal being shown here regarding the probabilities of warmth in week 2 expected in the models on Monday morning. With regard to precipitation, we alluded to this earlier on in the video. You see this probability of 40, 50, or 60% likelihood that the model will actually come in a little wetter than normal for the western Great Lakes and back to North Dakota. A lot of times when we get these large areas of heat, what we call heat domes or large ridges of high pressure, big areas of thunderstorm complexes can ride along the periphery, so from northwest toward the southeast, and this might be what the model is trying to pick up on here. But for most locations southward from there, we see a high probability from Nebraska back down into Oklahoma and certainly Texas that the model will come in drier than normal on Monday morning. Then into week 2, we see a much more of an absence of that potential wetter signal, really only a 40% probability in week 2, days 8 to 14, that the model will come in wetter than normal. And this is basically more the wheat belt versus so much the corn belt. Not really reaching those thresholds here. It's less than 40% probability one way or the other for most of the western Corn Belt. And then we see a 40 to 50% probability that the model will come in drier than normal for the eastern Corn Belt through the Ohio and Tennessee valleys and extending westward back through Oklahoma and Texas. And mark your calendars now for the August Grain Market Weather Webinar. It's coming back next month, Wednesday, August 13th at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. We'll get the new link up here in a few days, but for the time being, save the date. The August Grain Market Weather Webinar, Wednesday, August 13th, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Thanks to everyone who joined us for the June and July market weather webinars. Very popular, and we appreciate everybody's feedback on those. We'll do it again in August. I'm meteorologist Sean Sublett for CropProphet, and we'll talk to you again later next week.